So let's get into this Rich Paul rule thing. Now, for those that don't know, and I'm sure many of you already know, that the NCAA created a new rule, and the rule basically says that sports agents who are representing college athletes, specifically in basketball, have to have a bachelor's degree in order to do so. And so when that announcement came down the pipe, LeBron James put out a tweet saying, can't stop, won't stop. They big, mad, and scared. Nothing will stop this movement and culture over here. Sorry, not sorry. And then he put out another tweet saying hashtag the Rich Paul rule. And so I felt this was funny because LeBron was making the point that he felt like this rule was targeting his agent, Rich Paul, and Clutch Sports. And I do agree with that. I do feel like this was a rule that was targeting Rich Paul and anybody coming up in the ranks who might be the next Rich Paul. And a lot of people were saying that, this rule was rooted in racism. And, hey, we in America, and we know racism was woven into the fabric of this country. We know that. But I think this is a little less about racism and a little more about player empowerment. And this player empowerment era that we are now witnessing, that in my opinion has been ushered in by LeBron James, Rich Paul, and Clutch Sports. And the funny thing about this rule is that due to the public backlash that the NCAA got because of this rule, they reversed it within a matter of days. Within a matter of days, poof. Like a magic trick, they reversed the rule. It's no longer a rule anymore, which to me made the NCAA look like more of a circus than anything. I'm like, yo, this is a clown show at this point. But getting back to what I was saying about this not necessarily being about racism, or being a little less about racism and a little bit more about player empowerment. One of the reasons I can say that is because the fact of the matter is the Commission on College Basketball and the people who are in the position to make these decisions and to help create these rules, many of them are black. And even more importantly than being black, they're former athletes. So they should already understand how this could negatively affect a college athlete to not be able to hire the person that they trust, to hire the person that may have their best interest at heart, who is a close friend or a close family member, and that being taken away from them because this person has to have a bachelor's degree. So these people should understand. To be more specific, Grant Hill is on the Commission of College Basketball. David Robinson, who's also a former player. Not to mention Gene Smith, the athletic director of Ohio State. So that's just to name a few. But, the people in the position that's helping making these decisions are black. And many of them are also former athletes. So no, this is not about race, but guess what it's about? It's about player empowerment. And I think, for me, LeBron ushered in this player empowerment era the day he said, I am taking my talents to South Beach. When he said that, I said, yo, he's not going to let the city of Cleveland, the fans in that city, he's not going to let the coaches, the owners, he's not going to let nobody make him stay somewhere where the goal ain't to win a championship. And at this time, I wasn't watching basketball as much as I'm watching it now, but even back then I said to myself, just watching LeBron, I said, man, Cleveland just want to fill the seats. They don't care. They don't care if this man win or not. They just want to keep the seats filled. And I came to that conclusion, not even analyzing basketball on the level that I'm analyzing it right now. And you know who else comes to mind with this conversation right here? As we deal with this player empowerment era, LeVar Ball. LeVar was right to pull his sons out of this and that and say, hey, man, we're going over here, man, because you need to get paid. You're providing a service and you're generating capital for, whoever you decide to play for. So we need to get paid. And so guess where Melo going? He's going to Australia. He's not going to college. And guess who's watching Melo? LaMelo Ball. Guess who's watching him? These young kids in high school, these young kids in elementary school who want to be the next LaMelo Ball. They watching him. They watching the moves that his dad make. They watching the moves that they're making, and they're saying, hey, you know what? You're right. The NCAA, they're not paying nobody. So you're not doing this just to be, bringing in money for the NCAA and these different colleges. You're doing this to feed and support your family. This is your talent, and it's being exploited. And so now these players are starting to realize that, and they're taking a stand. They're saying, well, you know what? I'm gonna make my contract this way. So I'm gonna make a contract for a short time, because if you're not who you say you are within this time period, I'm out. I'm not gonna be here another 7 years like I was in Cleveland. I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Look at Kawhi Leonard. All right, you give me somebody to play with, I'll come over there. I.e. Paul George. You get Paul George, I'm in. But guess what? If you don't give me Paul George, I'm going to the Lakers, man. So y'all need to figure that out. Let me know what's happening. I'll wait around until the deadline, but y'all let me know what's cracking. But that's what's going to get me over there. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, I'm going to the Lakers with LeBron and AD, and we'll just compete against y'all. And another thing you got to think about is Rich Paul and Darius Baisley. And this new deal that he's inked with New Balance to be an intern for $1 million. $1 million internship with New Balance. Opted out of college. This guy had already committed to Syracuse. And of course, the coach, Jim Boeheim, when he decommitted, he took a shot at LeBron. And I quote, LeBron has done a nice job with his client. It's LeBron's client, right? So LeBron responds on Twitter, of course, with his tweet saying they big mad. And it's true. The NCAA is big mad. They big mad because the player empowerment era has arrived, And like I said, it arrived when LeBron first said, hey, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach. And now this player empowerment era is going on down to the college aspect of things, And now it's like, yeah, we can no longer continue to force these kids to play basketball for free while we making all the money. And we can't continue to exploit them through this flawed system, because now we have Rich Paul, Clutch Sports, we have LeBron James, we have these people that are willing to stand up, and they're setting an example. And now we big mad. And because we big mad, we're going to put this rule in place that makes it so any agent representing a college basketball player has to have a bachelor's degree. But then at the same time, when we see that the public gets mad about it and people speak on it, we're going to reverse it like really quickly. And then we're going to pretend that never happened. I mean, imagine if there was no Twitter. Imagine if LeBron had nowhere to say the things that he said and to imply that this rule was unfair and unjust. Imagine that. I mean, they'll keep it moving. They would have never reversed it if there was never a public outcry about it being unfair. So, I mean, I say that to say this. It's about to get interesting. Welcome once again to the player empowerment era.